Welcome everybody, and from today we are starting GST, Goods and Services Tax. So the first chapter, concept of GST. So we'll discuss indirect tax and GST in detail in this lecture. First thing, because we are starting the second part of our lectures, direct tax lectures are over. Now we are starting indirect tax. So first thing, memory techniques I'll share with you, as I already said to you in the regular lectures, but again repeating for you. Whenever the class is going on, just don't listen to complete the class. Listen to understand. Listen to memorize. If you are committed that I'll listen to understand and memorize, not just to complete, then your preparation will go at a super speed. So, whenever you start any lecture, what should be your first commitment? I am listening not to complete the lectures, but to understand and memorize the thing. With that commitment, you try to listen to the lectures. So, second important thing I want to share with you, that whenever the class is over, just don't quickly close the book. Just observe what did you write in the notes. Try to just do mind revision of each and everything, and then slowly close the book. So the brain will get proper signals that yes, this is something worthy to be memorized. If you abruptly close the book, suddenly close the book, you are giving signal to your brain that this is useless, you are frustrated with it. So it will not store the content. And that's why many students don't remember the subject. Okay. So what we are going to do, two things compulsorily from now. First, listen to understand and remember. Second, once the lecture is over, just focus on the content, observe, try to recollect everything, and then slowly close the book. Abruptly, never close the book. Okay. And third thing, always human being has a tendency. If you are given certain task and certain time, you always try to complete that task in that time only. I'll tell you an Elon Musk story to you. What happened? Elon Musk was actually traveling in a flight going back to the home with all the colleagues and teammates with whom he is working. So he asked that this is the problem in the factory they were discussing, and he asked the engineers how much time it will take. Then the engineer said it will take 6 months time to resolve this problem. Then Elon Musk went to the captain of the pilot and said, take the flight back to the factory where the problem is. So that means all holidays cancelled. And the team was instructed that till this problem is solved, you are not going to go back to home. And guess what? The engineers who said that it will take 6 months to solve this problem, now they have to go to home, correct? They are now committed to solve it as soon as possible, as early as possible. And what they did, they solved the entire problem in just 1 day. So, if you are given a task to complete in certain days, you will complete in that certain time. If you feel that you have to complete it urgently, you will also complete it urgently. So always challenge yourself when you are studying so that you can actually complete the topic faster, so that you will have enough time to revise again and again. And when you challenge yourself, your brain works faster. Right? These are the things which I thought I'll share with you. So now memory techniques, 3 parts I shared. So implement in your preparation and you will definitely rock. Right? Now, what is a tax? Already discussed in direct tax, correct? But still, in GST again we'll revise. Tax is a compulsory financial charge imposed on the taxpayer. So ultimately, tax is some financial commitment which taxpayer has to pay. Right? Who will charge? The government will charge. How they will charge? As per some law. Right? So as per some law, government will charge and the taxpayer has to pay. This is what the tax is. Now, why government should charge? let me explain with a simple story. Again, I am repeating same stories, but don't worry. It's always listening things again and again will actually build your confidence. Hey, if you have to manage your household, what will you do? You go to the office, you do some job, you have your own practice, you earn some money out of it, correct? And then you will try to meet your household expenditures, correct? Now, as we do it for household expenditure, right? In our house, all the people are earning. The answer is may not be, right? School going students may be there who are not earning, right? Old age people may be there who are not earning in our house. So we are earning and we are trying to maintain the family. All the needs of the people we are trying to meet. Now, old age people, when they were young, they earned, they maintained us when we are kids. The kids today, they are studying. Tomorrow, when we become old, they will maintain. So, like this, the social structure continues. So, always be happy to live in joint families. So, like our family, our country is also a family. And country has certain needs. So, to meet that needs, government also needs money. How will the government get? Right? We expect from government, correct? That government should build wonderful roads, proper infrastructure should be there, dams should be there, correct? The poor should be supported, our country should be protected, right? So proper defense system should be there. There should be no thefts, there should be no robberies. The police system should be there for safety, security. All that we expect from the government. But how will the government be able to do it? Government will be able to do when we pay the taxes. All the people in the society, out of their earnings, out of their spendings, they pay certain part to the government, and this way government accumulates lot of money and they spend on the defense needs, the infrastructure needs, the administration needs, the security needs, the poverty, right? Whoever are suffering from poverty, helping them, correct? Helping many poor countries also across if required. So this is how the structure works. Now you may say, sir, government is already having the capacity to print currency, correct? Obviously, government has the capacity to print currency. But if government prints lot of currency, then will the currency have value? The answer is no. Right? Because the resources, the goods are limited in the market. And you all know the Zimbabwe case study. The Zimbabwe's king decided that I'll make everybody rich in Zimbabwe and distributed bags of currencies to everybody. And what happened? You have crores of rupees at your house, but in the farm the production is less. So the prices of goods increased so much that these crores of rupees were also useless. So that's why what government does is, government collects some tax from all of us, then spend on the infrastructural need, defense needs and all that. Again, in some way they give it back to us. Again, we work hard, we earn money, we spend somewhere, we pay tax to government. So that way the money rotation happens. And this is how the economy actually goes well. So that's why taxes are necessary. Understood? Very good. Now tell me, how many types of taxes are there? There are two different types of taxes. One is direct tax and second one is indirect tax. Come on, when I am actually telling something to you, you just see like this. How it would be? When I am telling, try to repeat. So what are the two types of taxes? Tell me. Direct tax and second one is indirect tax. Yes, this is how you should repeat. So when you repeat, when you use all your senses, the chance that you will remember more increases. So two types of tax. What are they? Direct tax, indirect tax. Okay. I'll ask you a simple question. What is the oldest form of tax? Direct tax was old? Yeah, indirect tax was old. And the real answer is, the indirect tax is the oldest tax system. Right? So think about the kingdoms, right? Think about the Chanakyas, the Chandraguptas. In the Kautilya Arthashastra or Chanakya Arthashastra, he wrote about trade tax, he wrote about sales tax, right? So taxes were there in ancient India from generation, from years together. Today we are studying the Western version of tax. It's fine, it's okay. But in ancient India, the taxes were. So let me explain how things worked in the ancient India. Suppose example, area is there. In that area, some king is there. Now what the king was to do? King was to protect all the business community. Correct? Obviously, the looters, the people who are doing robbery should not loot the business community, correct? So king was to protect all these people. And in turn, the business community, out of their sales, out of their business profits, they were to pay some part to the king. You call it as direct tax or indirect tax, it's fine. Because in the olden days, what happens? On how much you are able to produce, based on that you have to pay to king. On how much you are able to sell, based on that you will be paying to the king. So this way, primarily indirect tax prevailed. Suppose one businessman from some other country wants to come to our country and do business. The king was to say, okay, you are selling goods in our country, then pay tax. Pay supply part of the goods to the king, right? To the king's treasury. So this way, the customs duty, right? When we are importing the goods from outside India to India, right? So some part was collected by the kings. So customs duty was there. On sales, they collected the tax. So sales tax was there. So from ancient India, these taxation systems continued. Now, for you to understand tax, I'll make it with a simple story. Okay? Dekho, when we study any law, anything, we should understand that our country has a rich history and we should be proud of it. We study the things across the globe and say that this was invented by this, that, but actually way back in our country, these systems prevailed. So that's why I tell that story. Now let's continue with our cute example, right? So what happened? There was a girl called as Chavi, just casual name. So she went to a store. So she ordered some Black Forest chocolate or Black Forest cake. When she ordered the Black Forest cake, on the menu it was written that the price of the Black Forest cake is 1500 rupees. So she ordered it. When the bill came, she saw, oh, it's not 1500. I'm supposed to pay, suppose 1650. Why this 150 extra? She asked the bakery shop owner, why you are asking me to pay 150 rupees extra? Actually, the price of the cake is 1500 rupees. Why I am paying this 150 extra? She asked. Then the shopkeeper said, Madam, actually this is GST, or I can say indirect tax. Basically, as we are selling goods in a country, we are supposed to collect a percentage of the price of the goods. A percentage of the price of the goods. Actually, it is called ad valorem. What is the legal language? Ad valorem. But in simple language, a percentage of the price of the goods we have to collect along with the price. So our price is 1500. Government wants 10% tax. So 1500 into 10%, 150. So 1500 plus 150, 1650 will be there. So you have to pay 1650 to us. But why should we pay? Madam, it is a compulsory financial charge which you are supposed to pay. But then why should I pay to you? Who asked it? Chavi asked it to the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper said, Madam, you will pay this 150 to me and I will deposit this 150 in the government treasury. Will pay back to the government. So Chavi said, that means I am indirectly paying to the government. Yes, you are paying indirectly to the government. This is called as indirect tax, right? So is she paying to the government directly? No, she is not paying to the government treasury directly. She is paying to the seller, the wholesaler, manufacturer, dealer, and that dealers, wholesalers are in turn paying to the government. So ultimately what happened? The customer is indirectly paying the tax to the government. Because it is to be collected on the price of the goods, government cannot collect it directly. Because it is to be collected on the service charge, government cannot collect it directly. So that's why the sellers, the service providers, along with the price, along with the charge, they add the tax element and then collect it from the customer, the service receiver. And ultimately, they deposit it with the government. So the customer is indirectly paying to the government. Clear to all of you? That's why this tax is called as indirect tax. So with this example, I feel you understood indirect tax meaning very simple. You would have seen many jokes when GST came into picture, right? I went to a hotel, I ate at the hotel, but when I got the bill, I saw two things. What? CGST, SGST also. That means along with me, two more people were eating. So this type of jokes were cracked, which we'll discuss later on also. But what did you learn in this story? That indirect tax is ultimately to be paid by the consumer. Ultimately, who is paying? The consumer is paying. Right? To whom? To the seller. But where it is going finally? To the government. So customer is indirectly paying to the government. So we call it as indirect tax. Now what are the features of indirect tax? As I just said to you, that indirect tax is a tax on goods and services. Now let me give you examples. Suppose example, I went to a cake shop and I purchased again Black Forest cake. So on that GST is there. So it's an indirect tax. So what did you learn in this story? In this story you learned that on goods indirect tax is there. Whatever product you purchase in the market, almost on everything, you will see that there is GST. Right? Sir, but I go and purchase alcoholic liquor. Don't worry. On that there is no GST. But there is something called as excise duty by the state government. Right? Excise duty is there. VAT is there. Ultimately, the wine seller will collect excise duty and VAT from you and ultimately pay to the government. So what happened in this story? In this story, what happened is, whether it is excise duty, whether it is VAT, whether it is GST on different goods, but indirect tax is a tax on goods. And are services left? The answer is no. On services, GST will be levied. So, on goods and services, both indirect taxes are charged. Clear to all of you? Very good. Now come to the second step. So, first feature, try to memorize, recollect in your mind what it is. Sir, first feature is tax on goods and services. Tax on goods and services. Like this you have to remember. So, indirect tax is a tax on goods and services. Second feature says burden. Now, ultimately, the sellers, the wholesalers, the retailers, the dealers, the service providers pay the tax to the government. But will they pay from their pocket? The answer is no. They collect it from the customers. They collect it from the service receivers, from the clients. Correct? So that's why ultimately the burden of indirect tax is shifted to the customer. Right? So that's why we wrote the second heading burden. So here there is a shifting of burden, right? Regarding this, I'll discuss in more detail in the second video. As of now, you just understand the wholesaler is not paying from his pocket, but he is actually charging the tax to the customer, and whatever tax he collected from the customer, he'll pay to the government. So burden is shifted from wholesaler to retailer, retailer to customer. So who is ultimately bearing the burden? The customer is actually the person who is facing this, who is actually bearing the burden. Okay. So first feature, tax on goods and services. Second feature, burden. Third feature, inflation. Now come back to our Chavi's example. What happened? For her, the price of the cake, which I gave the example, cake kaun sa tha? Black Forest, correct? Is 1500 rupees. But after adding the 10% tax, it became 1650. So ultimately, it is increasing the payment by the customer, correct? Whatever customer is paying to the seller is increasing because of the taxes. So we can say that the value of goods is increasing and the value of money is decreasing, correct? And that's why we'll say indirect tax is inflationary in nature. So ultimately, the prices, the payment for goods and services is increasing because of the taxes. So it is inflationary in nature. So three features we completed. What are they? Tell me again. First, tax on goods and services. Second one, burden. Third one, inflationary. Fourth one, social welfare. Now, is government so shrewd that it will tax all goods equally? The answer is no. Because there are certain goods where government will not even collect tax. Like example, I'll tell you, like some naturopathy treatments are there, like panchakarma treatments are there. Government says, okay, it is natural treatment. Okay, no problem. On yoga, no problem. Will not tax these activities. So yoga teachers can teach yoga, collect money, but there will be no tax on it. Right? Of course, they earn income, they pay income tax. But on yoga, there will be no tax. Similarly, doctors are there. Doctors are giving treatment to patients. So there will be no tax on the collections from the patients by the doctors. Why? Governments understand. Are they already that patient is facing problem? Why should we burden them with unnecessary tax? Are he's doing a noble thing like yoga. Why should we trouble them with tax? Correct? So they don't impose tax on it. Like on jawar, bajra, maize, right? On basic necessities of human consumption, which basically the poor people only collect or use. Oh, wait. Which poor and rich both use, but generally poor people need basic things. So they survive on that. So on such things, government did not charge any tax. So jawar, bajra, right? Vegetables, there is no tax on it. So that means what happened? Government is kind enough to take care of, correct? On what goods tax should not be levied. But ultimately, there are people who smoke. Who? There are people who vape. There are people who actually consume alcohol. Now, should this be encouraged? If my perspective is to be considered, I'll ban all these things directly. Right? When something is written on the product that it is injurious to health, then why should actually government encourage people to sell and why should people consume? If at least somebody has legally passed first and second class, he'll never consume any sweetie supari or any alcoholic product or correct? Are you able to connect? So no means no. But what government does is government want to discourage this consumption. So what they say that we'll charge more tax on alcoholic products. So this way government want to discourage. Okay. So whatever are the basic necessity, government says no tax on it. Whatever are unnecessary things harms the society, on that huge amount of tax. Are you able to understand? So this is basically with the purpose of social welfare. For the social well-being, they plan like this. Now, why government is not abolishing alcohol completely? The answer is the society is like that. So socially, the practices are like that. So major chunk of the society may not be okay with it. So that's why they completely don't abolish. They discourage by charging heavy taxes. So what we discussed till now, 4 points in feature. First one, tax on goods and services. Second one, burden. Third one, inflationary. Fourth one, social welfare. Fifth one, we'll discuss now, and that is wider tax base. Now, ultimately, people may not earn income, but can people survive without consumption of goods or services? Right? Suppose a student is there. Student is not going to earn income. Old age people are not going to earn income. But everybody will consume goods and services. So ultimately, huge chunk of population is covered by indirect tax. And that's how government will be able to get huge collections of taxes. That's why you would have heard recently that GST tax collection for month crossed 2 lakh crores. So huge amount of taxes are being collected. I am shocked to see that even those who are selling tiffins, like on bandis, they are collecting GST now. Yes. So that means to such corners, to such small sections of the society, right, government is reaching, and if their income, their sales are beyond certain limits, government is actually asking them to register and start paying taxes by collecting it from the customer. So what did you learn from this? That taxes, indirect tax has a wider tax base. Because I'll tell you, income tax records, I'll tell you. India has 140 crores population. Out of that, how many people file income tax return? Almost around 8 crore people file income tax return. That means not even 10%. And how many people pay income tax? Around 1.5 crore. So not even 1% people pay income tax. How can government actually manage so many things which actually it is working on? Right? We have to make some missiles to protect our country. Akash drones are there. Akash defense system is there. We have to develop such defense systems. Right? All that has to be done. So for that purpose, what is required? A lot of money is required. So government says indirect tax on the consumption of goods and services will collect. And this way, people cannot escape also. So wider tax base with this. So we discussed 5 features. What are they? Come on, repeat with me. Tax on goods and services, burden. Third one, inflationary. Fourth one, social welfare. Fifth one, wider tax base. Sixth one we'll discuss, that is regressive in nature. What is regressive in nature? Tell me. Actually, regressive basically means that, see, if a poor person is purchasing mobile, a rich person is purchasing the same mobile, but the rate of tax on mobile is same. Now, who is buying doesn't matter. On the product, particular rate of tax is there, right, when it comes to indirect tax. So this way, it actually pinches the poor people. It actually burdens the poor people, right? That's what they wanted to tell in regressive. Right? Now last, no pinch. But will the poor person understand? Will the people from the society understand? The answer is no. Because ultimately, when you go to a shop, you ask the seller that how much is the payment. He'll tell the total payment to be done. Correct? Right? Suppose example, if the girl got the bill, they will say 1650 you pay, ma'am. And simply you will scan, pay and get out. 99% of the population will not at all be interested to see Okay, the price is 1500, the GST is 150, so it became 1650. Like that, who understands? Who focuses? Who cares? Because it is collected along with the price, it don't pinch the people. You are not paying to the government directly, na? It will not pinch the people. Right? So there is no pinch. Right? The burden, the stress is not felt when it comes to indirect tax. And that's why more collections can be done. Correct? So let me again repeat for you 7 features we discussed till now. First one, there is the tax on goods and services. Second one, burden. Third one, inflationary. Fourth one, social welfare. Fifth one, wider tax base. Sixth one, regressive. Right? Seventh one, no pinch. Correct? Now 6th and 7th, you feel that, arey sir, if there is no pinch, how it is regressive? Correct? And if it is regressive, then why there is no pinch? You may ask this question. Right? In true spirit, it is regressive on the poor. Because whatever packaged product they are going to buy, on that they are paying GST. For them, it is a burden. Is it clear? But they don't feel. So that's why no pinch. Both are actually, seventh point talks about the feeling and 6th point talks about the reality. Now clear? Very good. So with this we completed the features of indirect tax. But let me tell you, first we should understand what is the difference between direct and indirect tax. Direct tax I have already explained to you. Now indirect tax, now I explain to you. So now we will compare both of them to understand. Let's see. Because direct tax is directly charged to the taxpayer. Right? So taxpayer, you are earning certain income, you pay tax. This is what direct tax is. So ultimately the burden is on the taxpayer, the person who is earning income, and he only makes the payment. Correct? Indirect tax is not like this. Indirect tax is a tax on consumption of goods and services. So when you consume, you pay for it, and along with your payment, the seller is also collecting tax and he is paying to the government. So who is paying to government indirect tax? The seller, the wholesaler, the retailer is paying to the government. But ultimately burden is shifted to the consumer. So are you able to understand? So burden is shifted to consumer in indirect tax, but in direct tax, you cannot shift the burden. So when we talk about direct tax, the person who is liable will only pay, and there is no shifting of burden. Whereas in indirect tax, in GST, the seller, wholesaler, retailer, dealer, service provider will pay to the government, but the burden is ultimately on the consumer. Okay, this is how you should understand. So next thing, example of direct tax, tell me. Simple. Income tax, only one. Correct? You earn income, you pay direct tax. Correct? Next, indirect tax examples are GST, goods and services tax, right? On the sale and supply of goods and services. Okay? Similarly, excise duty on the manufacture of certain products like tobacco, right? Next thing, customs duty on the import and export of goods, it's a tax. All these are attached to the price and collected from the consumer finally. Okay, right. And last difference I'll tell you, direct tax is progressive and indirect tax is regressive. In direct tax, we saw slab system, correct? As your income is increasing, so your tax is increasing. This is what in case of direct tax. But indirect tax, they are not bothered about your income. Indirect tax, they are not bothered about your income. They are just looking at your consumption. Are you consuming? For that you are paying along with the payment GST, right? Excise is collected. So this is how indirect tax works. Now I'll tell you that there may be many people who are earning income, but they don't show it to the government, right? Those people who are actually working in waste management, right, at small scale, right? Those who collect scrap from all the people and they work on the waste, recycle it, or they sell it again at a higher price. These people actually don't show their income to the government, neither pay any tax to the government when it comes to direct tax. But these people also go and consume some products from the market, correct? There they have to pay indirect tax. So that's why indirect tax is easy to collect, whereas direct tax is difficult to collect. Are you able to understand the difference? Yes. So we understood the difference between direct and indirect tax. Let me quickly tell you, direct tax is a tax on the income collected directly from the person who earns the income. Indirect tax is a tax on consumption of goods and services. Direct tax, the burden and payment is on the same person. Indirect tax, the payment is done by the wholesaler, dealer, manufacturer, service provider, but the burden is shifted to consumer. Direct tax, income tax is the only example. Indirect tax, GST, customs, excise duty, VAT, all these are examples. Direct tax is progressive and indirect tax is regressive. We discussed all this. Direct tax collection is difficult and indirect tax collection is super easy for the government. That's what we discussed. Now, but really, can government levy the tax? Is it possible? Is it allowed? For that, we have to go to the constitution. So, we'll discuss about constitutional validity of taxes. What we are going to discuss now? Constitutional validity of taxes. So now, can government collect any tax, whatever they feel, like that, casually? Right? Can tomorrow suddenly Narendra Modi get up from sleep and say, भाइयों और बहनों, आज से अपने भारत देश में फैट टैक्स लगेगा, green tax लगेगा? Can they say like that? The answer is no. Government or the ministers cannot levy the tax directly like that. So then how tax can be charged? By making a law. Right? So that's why Article 265 says no tax can be levied except without the authority of law. Right? So in simple language, tax can be levied only with the authority of the law. Okay? Right? Tax will be levied. First, law should be made. Then a date should be said that from this date, this law will apply. And accordingly, from that date, they can start collecting taxes. If I give example of GST, 1st July 2017, GST came into force. Right? So from that date only, government can collect GST. Are you clear? So law should be made. Without law, no tax. And how laws are made in India, you know? Yaad hai? Right, repeating again for all of you. Simple. First thing, government will tell to a ministry called as Ministry of Laws and Justice. This is the ministry which actually prepares any law. Now, tax is a law relating to finance. So, Ministry of Law and Justice, along with Finance Ministry, discuss, understand. They will study the laws across the globe relating to tax. And finally, they will prepare a draft for levying some tax. Once the draft is prepared, the draft will be presented to the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Then all the members will have a discussion. Then voting will happen. Right? And if majority people vote, then definitely that is passed. Then it will go to the president for assent. President will sign. After that, it will be published in the website called as egazette.gov.in. And when it is published in the website, from that date only the law is effective. So again repeating for all of you, first government will decide that these are the areas on which we want to make the law. Then it will tell this Ministry of Laws and Justice to prepare the draft. Along with the concerned ministries, they will discuss and prepare a law. That's presented in the parliament in the name of bill, and after due discussions, if some changes are required after doing certain changes, it will go for voting. Once the voting is done, once it is approved, then it will go to the president for signature, president signs, and then published in the egazette.gov.in website, then it becomes a law. This is how law is made. So that's why Article 265 says no tax can be levied until and unless there is a proper law made for the same. Right? Government was thinking to make a tax, bring a tax called as fat tax. But government withdraw that thought. Right? So this way you have to think, right? How actually what gives the authority to levy tax? Article 265. How Article 265 says that you collect the tax? First by making the law. But then how laws can be made? Because India is a federal structure. You know what is federal structure? Federal structure means there is a dual government. Like in India, state government is there, central government is there, correct? Central government will take care of the defense, that means protecting our country. State government will maintain internal security through police. Are you able to understand? So different activities are bifurcated by the central government and state government, and each handles its own tasks. Do you know where all these activities, where all these laws are written? They are written in the Article 246 read with Schedule 7. Right? So Article 246 says that there are three different lists: union list, state list, concurrent list. So when we talk about union list, it is list 1. When we talk about union list, it is list 1. And union list 1 means basically the items which are covered in union list on which only central government can make the law. So state government cannot interfere here. Only central government can make the law and implement it. Okay? State government machinery can be used, but central government has the power to make the law on items which are mentioned in list 1, union list. List 2, state list. On this, who will make the law? State government will make the law, obviously. Right? List 2, who will make the law? State government will make the law. Correct? So state government will actually make the law on items which are given in list 2. Similarly, list 3 is there. Here, state and central both can make the laws. We call it as concurrent list. We call it as what? Concurrent list. Like I already said to you that forest is there, education is there. On that, central and state both can make the laws. Central and state government both can make the laws. That's why you see Hyderabad Central University, central government's university, Usmania University, state government's university, correct? CBST board, central government schooling, state board of secondary education, right? School education, what it is? State government's education. So these two parallelly continues because they are in concurrent list. Are you able to understand? So both of them can make the laws on this. Shall we discuss first union list in detail? देखो, I am only talking about taxation perspective. So in Schedule 7, there may be many things, but only from taxation perspective, that too which is relevant today. Why I am talking about relevant today? Because you will see the CMA study material, you will understand. There are unnecessary so many entries written. Why will anybody study entries relating to CST, entries relating to service tax? They are already deleted in 2017. We are in 2025. Correct? So CMA Institute want to teach you all that redundant, unnecessary stuff. That's why people like us who actually cut unnecessary stuff and whatever is essential will study in detail. Which are already deleted, which are redundant, we'll ignore that. We'll not study that. But whatever is useful, we'll study in much more depth than what may be written in your study material if required. Exclusively, we are solving CMA problems. It's not that we are solving CA problems in the class and going for CMA exam. No. Here in our classes, in my tax classes, we solve all CMA study material. We solve all the past exam questions, RTPs. So exclusive CMA. So if same question comes in the exam, you will be able to quickly do it because you have already done in the class. Correct? So that's what the advantage is. Okay. Now, if you study some other material which is not related to CMA and you get the same question from CMA book, this question is new, you will take more time for it. Correct? These are the things which you have to understand. Okay. Now, let's continue back to the education. So, Article 246 read with Schedule 7, we discussed it. 3 lists are there. Union list, state list, concurrent list. Union list, central government can make the law. State list, state government can make the law. Concurrent list, central and state both can make the laws. Union list, list 1, state list, list 2, concurrent list, list 3. Now let's discuss union list, only specific things which are needed. So here there are 4 entries. Entry number 82, 83, 84, 83, okay, 82, 83, 84, 97. Okay, these 4 are there. So 82 talks about that central government has the power to collect tax on income except agricultural income. What I said, central government has the power to collect tax on income except agricultural income. That is what entry 82 in union list says. Now come little down and see entry number 46. What entry number 46 says? Entry number 46 says that tax on agricultural income can be collected only by whom? Only by the state government. Tax on agricultural income, who can collect? Only the state government. This way you should be able to compare. Clear? Now, let's go to the next one. Entry number 82 read with 46 we did. Entry number 82 says the central government can collect tax on income other than agriculture. Entry number 46 says on agriculture income, state government can collect tax. Now, do any state government levy tax on agriculture income? As of now, the answer is no. There can be many reasons for it. Right? Agricultural products should not become costly. That may be a reason. Correct? Right? Obviously, there is no indirect tax also on it. Right? Farmers should be supported so they don't levy income tax. Political reasons also. Let any government form levy tax on agriculture income. Automatically, that government will fall down. Farmers will protest. Moreover, the politicians also need some sources of income which are not taxable. Right? One actor's daughter who is now making movies has lot of agriculture income and out of that she is purchasing flats. So you understood what I mean to say, right? So basically it is shown as the income. This way they actually manage many things without paying taxes. So that's why on agriculture income, still there is no income tax. Entry number 82 done, 82 done, 46 done. 83 let us discuss. Central list 83. What it says? This simply says that on import and export of goods, customs duty will be charged. So entry number 83 says on the import and export of goods, customs duty as a tax will be charged. So who will collect? Central government will only collect. This is 83. 84 is bit tricky. 84 is bit tricky. You have to read it in more detail to understand. Right? Wow. What 84 says? That any excise duty on tobacco or other products manufactured or produced in India. So obviously central government still continues to levy excise duty on which products? Tobacco products and other products manufactured in India. Think about presently petrol, aviation, turbine fuel, correct? Motor spirit, diesel. On this, there is no GST. There is excise duty by central government. So other products, these examples we can give. So entry number 84 we understood. What is entry number 84? It is a basically excise duty on what? Excise duty on tobacco and other products manufactured or produced in India. Suppose it is produced outside India, then entry number 83 will say customs duty, correct? So that's why produced in India, excise duty. Imported from outside India, customs duty. Okay. But the word except is written. Except alcoholic liquor for human consumption. That means central government cannot levy tax on alcoholic liquor for human consumption, Indian hemp, opium and other narcotic products. 4 things. What I said? Alcoholic liquor for human consumption, Indian hemp, opium, other narcotic products. On this, who will levy the tax? Obviously, state government will levy the tax. Right? On these 4, who will levy the tax? State government will levy the tax. Right? After that, I'll tell you, if this alcoholic liquor or opium is used in medicine and toilet preparation, right, to cure the patients, it can be used. So if it is used for medicinal and toilet preparations, then entry number 84 says that yes, central government can levy the tax and the state government cannot levy the tax. State government cannot levy the tax. Okay? Yeah. Then you should also understand that there is entry number 97. Entry number 97 says, if any item is not mentioned in list 2 and 3, that means such item is not there in state list nor in concurrent list. Item is not there in state list or concurrent list. Then if it is not in state list or concurrent list, then who will the levy tax? Obviously, entry number 97 says central government can levy the tax. On any item, if there is no tax in list 2 and list 3, then central government has the power to levy the tax. That's what entry number 97 says. So we completed the 3 lists, 4 entries. 1, entry number 82, tax on income other than agricultural income. Right? Entry number 82. Relating to that, entry number 46 says that on agricultural income, state government can levy tax. Right? Similar to that, we discussed entry number 83. 83 says tax on import and export, that is customs duty. Entry number 84 says that okay, excise duty on the tobacco products and other products like petroleum, I said, right, which are produced and manufactured in India. On that, central government can levy excise duty. But central government cannot levy tax on alcoholic liquor for human consumption, Indian hemp, opium, and finally one thing is the narcotics and narcotic products. So anything which is bad for health, state government can levy tax. But if it is used for treatment of the patient, medicinal and toilet preparation, then definitely entry number 82 is attracted, 84 is attracted, and central government can levy tax. Entry number 97 says that any item which is not mentioned in list 2, list 3, on that there is no tax in list 2, list 3, central government has the power to levy tax. Okay. A second pause we'll do and continue after. So 46. Now we'll discuss state list. So state list first item is entry number 46. What it says basically, tax on agricultural income. So if you earn agricultural income, state government has the power to levy tax. Then second item, entry number 60. Actually, if you are doing any job in a country, if you are doing any job in a state. Suppose example, I am working in Telangana state. I am doing a job in a Telangana state. So Telangana state government can collect professional tax from me. Telangana state government can collect professional tax from me. Are you clear? Yes. So entry number 60 says professional tax state government can collect. Very nominal tax it is actually. Like I'll give example. If you are doing a job, 200 rupees per month you have to pay to state government. Right? This is professional tax. Example I give. It's a real number. Okay. Right. Shall we go to next story? That is entry number 51. Now I already discussed entry number 84 in central list. Right? Excise duty on tobacco and other products. Correct? Entry number 84 I said. That central government can levy. But after that I said except alcoholic liquor for human consumption, Indian hemp, opium, narcotics and narcotic products. On these 4, state government can levy tax under entry number 51. State government can levy tax under entry number 51. That's what we have to understand. Okay. Clear to all of you? Very good. Entry number 51. State government can levy tax on this. Obviously, medicinal and toilet preparations is there. On that, entry number 84, that is central government only has the power to levy the tax. So, state list has 3 items, 46, 60 and 51 entries. But what if there is a dishum between central and state government? Fight between central and state government. Like especially when there is a concurrent list, like education. New education policy government wanted to bring. Central government wanted to bring new education policy. Like one nation, one tax, GST is there. Right? Same way government want to say that one nation, one education. So they want to ultimately state board should be separate, central board should be separate. All these janjat government want to get rid of. But will state governments agree? The answer is generally no. Right? So what happens is, wherever there is a conflict on matters which are listed in concurrent list, where central and state both have the power to make the law. In such case, entry number 254 comes. Obviously, if Constitution has put some items in concurrent list where both have the power to make the law, obviously, if there is a conflict, how to solve, Constitution only will tell. And that is through entry number 254. It says, if there is a dispute, central government's law will prevail over the state government's law. Central government's law will have more validity, will override, will overpower the state government's law. So central government is Gulliver and state government will be treated as Lilliput. Right? Secondary. This is how you should understand. Okay. Now, we discussed all the constitutional provisions and its validity. So ultimately, we have done some basic understanding of indirect tax. In next lecture, I'll practically explain to you what GST is, why it was important, what was the problems before, everything we'll discuss. So obviously, you have to concentrate. Okay? And follow what I said. Listen to understand and remember. After class is over, again check it once, twice. Challenge yourself to complete certain topics in certain times. Because your brain will work sharper, you will have time to complete things. Right? So these are all the lessons which we learned. So that's it. We'll meet in the next video. And those who are watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel.